We need to convert our primitive object to an editable poly before we can start working with its vertices and edges. To convert this primitive object to an editable poly, just right click the object, come down to the bottom option and convert to editable poly. Converting to an editable poly gives us 5 options to edit with. These are the vertices, which are like the points that connect the edges. The border option selects the edges that create a border. Polygon selects the polygon faces, and the last option, the element selection, selects elements from within the editable poly modifier. For example, if we drag out the object, we can see it moves as one, but selecting using element selection will only select one mesh. Now that we've converted this to an editable poly, we have access to certain operations. The most common one that I use is extrude and inset, which insets a face, bevel, which is like an extrude but you have access to the size of the face, and also chamfer, which smooths out edges like so. It's worth knowing the different types of polygons. In practical terms, the polygon I have selected is called a quad. If I was to cut across these edges, or cut these verts, I'd have 2 triangles. A polygon with more than 4 sides is called an n-gon. You will learn what polygons to use and avoid by experience. A general rule of thumb is that if the model does not require deformation, you can use triangles. So in games, most weapons, props and environment assets do not deform their topology. If the model deforms, as games and movie characters, keep the geometry as quad. My understanding is that quads deform in a smoother fashion than triangles, which is why we would want to use them on organic animated geometry. You should also keep in mind that meshes are usually triangulated on export, and certainly when they are imported in game engines. This is why it is useful to triangulate the mesh before exporting, because it may triangulate differently in the engine, although this is a rare occurrence. It's worth noting that our model is secretly triangulated behind the scenes. If you come to your edge selection setting and go to the edit triangulation, we can see how the model is triangulated here. We can also use the turn tool here to edit this triangulation, but generally you'll want to leave this alone until you become more experienced with the modelling process.